State that it'll be a fast-paced game, physical. We rivaled them, and even back to the time where I sort of played here, it was always fun and gritty between the two teams. So looking forward to that.
You guys were in action a couple weekends ago at LIU, sort of kind of a kickoff to the next semester. Sort of recap that weekend. You got a tie out of it, some close games. You've been in some close games all year long. Just recap the LIU series heading into this weekend.
Sure. Our team had I think it's important to mention, our team had quite a learning curve for the first semester, where we played a handful of very, very good programs, being, two current top 10 teams and then one knocking on the doorstep. And for some of those other opponents that we had in the first semester, we had very, very close games, 1-goal games that ended up looking like 2-goal games with empty nets, where we're trying to convert on those plays. So after the break, we knew that we had LIU, Long Island University scheduled for 2. And our group was extremely, extremely excited. We were on the road. We hadn't been on the road a lot the first semester. So to be able to be together immediately, get some team bonding in, and just focus on hockey. And at the time too, no school, which is a lot of fun for our girls. So we headed into the weekend, and we came out of the gate for our Friday night game, ready to fight. We ended up going, I think, 1-1 into the second period, and then we were able to convert 2 other times, going up 3-1 into the third. And it was an exciting space for our team to be in. We worked all year long on just focusing on us and the controllables. Towards the end of that period, we started to face a little adversity, but we were still okay. We got some special teams in there, which can impact momentum. And then headed right back into the last minute of the game, we ended up having some breakdowns that really, really hurt us. They scored earlier in that third, moving the score differential to just one goal. And those are tight moments to be in, especially for a team that hasn't won yet. And so you see this goal that you're working towards at the doorstep. And we were made up of majority very young players, and the players that aren't young also have had adverse times here at the university in the program. So those moments are huge learning moments for us. And so we ended up actually losing that game, which was a pretty devastating moment in the last 30 seconds. And again, like, our job as coaches and leaders of the program is to look at those moments and learn from them and move on. And so going into the second game, we talked a lot about, hey, we got to come in and do better. We had this opportunity, and it didn't pan out the way we wanted to, but what can we learn from it and remember, and let it light a fire in our belly for the next game. So I thought we responded very well. We came out, I thought that we dominated the game for majority of the game, controlled pretty much all ends of the ice, even through the neutral zone. And we again, like, we're up 2-1 in the third, took a penalty in the third period of that second game, which put us on the PK, which then again shifted some momentum, and then they ended up scoring to tie the game in the third period. We had then another opportunity, which we've only faced one other time this year, was to go into overtime, and our overtimes are 3v3, so there's a lot of excitement. If you've watched any hockey, you recognize that it's 2-on-1s, it's breakaways, it's back and forth, and that's pretty much what you saw. We had a goaltender who made a big save. We had a player who had a mini one-on-one with a goaltender, and so the play could have gone either way, but neither team ended up converting, and so we came out of that game with a tie. I commend our team because they can take a sort of devastating loss the day before and come out and fold. And they came out and responded, I thought, appropriately. Still, we're not satisfied, and no one in that locker room, those players will tell you first they're not satisfied. But they were able to take a step, I think, in the right direction from that weekend. And unfortunately, our games were postponed or canceled due to COVID this coming weekend. And so we're again just looking to build off that going into Penn State for Friday, Saturday.
You mentioned earlier that you have a team that's a lot of newcomers and some that don't have a ton of collegiate hockey experience. And you've had a challenging first semester. Talk about the spirit on the team as you head into their second semester. You know, the leadership and how they've kept the spirit up, coaching staff, captains, seniors, how they've kept that spirit up as you head into the new semester.
Yeah, so great points. I think it's really, really important. You mentioned the word leadership to acknowledge like a few points here in terms of spirit of the team. So I have an unbelievable staff that works with me. Assistant Jordan Pardosky, who spent time at Brown, at Elmira, small stint at Colgate, and then before that was a Division I player at Penn State, who we're playing this weekend. Unbelievable coach who works every day to suck greatness and maintain that spirit and chooses every day to put players first and again, like find the positive in rough patches or through learning curves. And you know, I have Josh Grazer, who is my other assistant, who again has had a magnitude of experience at the Division I level. Colgate, who we played UVM on the men's side at Canisius, and then was a video coach at USA Hockey U18. And so he again is a player coach. So those two together, again, you know, can come into a situation, look at these 13 new players that we have and find the improvements that they've made from game to game, week to week. And then we also have Matt Wins, who's my operations, who also is an alum in RIT, who just builds player relationships and maintains that excitement to come to the rink every day, no matter what the situation. So those three, having them helps that day-to-day spirit, and not just within the staff, but within the girls. You know, having a connection with them and building trust is what keeps them coming every day, and also excited to come every day, and excited not only for week to week, but the future of our program. We have a handful of older kids on the team, not too many. And so Jordan Marchese, our captain, has been unbelievable in recognizing and having perspective while like much beyond her years, and looking at a game and recognizing, you know, what's appropriate to be like, hey, this is a positive, and where we can lean in and be like, hey, we need to improve here. Like, we know we're better than this. We need our team members to be better than that. But again, it's been challenging. There's no doubt about it. You know, you have, again, the 13 players that are new, and some of those players didn't even play a season last year with their club team. So now you're talking 2 seasons they've been out, and then to throw them into a student athlete experience at the college level is tough. And I think it's important to say student athlete experience, because as a first year, it's wild. You're sometimes away from home for the first time. You're managing a workload for academics, and then you're managing an athletic load. And we demand a lot from our student athletes from both a student perspective and athletic perspective. So they've taken it in stride. And of course, there's there's been days for them that you can tell, like, hey, this kid's just feeling it a little bit more than other days. But again, they've been unbelievable in terms of, we're asking them to show up, and not just show up, but work every day to get better. And they do that. And you can see that in terms of, we've had some weekly awards for our younger players on the team, which is pretty cool. We've had, if you look at our statistics, half of some of the younger kids are pushing that level up. And so that's really, really exciting, especially when you're going through sort of the curve of a rebuild. If you can see some of that promise in your younger players and highlight that and still not be satisfied, I think we're on a pretty good track forward.
Have you seen that improvement in a day-to-day with the newcomers, even in the veterans too?
Yeah,
where they started in early September to where they're at right now as we head into the weekend, January 11th.
100%. I look at our returners, and I want to highlight them too. When I came into the program last year, it is my second season. The first season we had was crazy last year, where I don't think I had one full team practice. I don't think I had one full game. And those kids still learn through that process. And this year they were able to continue to learn more. Hockey is a game where it's so unpredictable, and you can run systems and whatnot, but again, it's just learning the sense of hockey, and they've improved tremendously, and they improve daily. You get really excited, and so do they when it clicks, and they can take a moment from practice or video and implement it, and you can just see the joy, like, oh man, this is paying off. So they've also improved, and without them sort of pushing the pace and doing that themselves, I think it'd be hard for the newcomers to do something they can't see or look up to. But yes, there's constant improvements, and it's minor improvements. The unique thing about our program is that the recruit that we're currently taking needs to improve, and they need to improve rapidly, and that's a good thing. But you have to recognize that it's not an overnight process, and that you have to build confidence with these players throughout that process, because there's going to be situations where the improvement isn't immediate, and they don't get to see that result immediately. And so our job as coaches, our job as mentors, is to highlight that for them. And it is, of course, always nice to have some external reward. So whether it's a production or a point, but we really talk about a lot of our controllables, and having confidence in our preparation and confidence in the process. So really excited to sort of see how this next 2 months plays out for everyone on our team. But again, just overall impressed with every team member and the dedication they put in.
Now, do you have goals set for the second part of this season? And if so, would you mind, if you don't want to, you don't have to, if they're private team goals, but just sort of team goals and what you're looking to get out of the rest of this season heading into the latter end and into the playoffs?
Yeah, so it's important to have team goals, and it's important to have, also goals independently within our locker room. I know everyone's goal is to get that first win. And so that's on our radar. There's no doubt about it, but our girls and our team isn't satisfied with just one win. The other tricky thing here with goals is that the team we have and the space that our program is in is that we aren't necessarily looking at it in terms of the full semester. It's like, hey, what's our goal for Monday? What's our goal for the week? What's our goal for the weekend? And that's what we're really trying to rein it into. And so we've done work all through the first semester even to be like, come into three keys for our team going into each game, and those I'll keep to them, but those three keys haven't changed as of recently, because we found that if we hit those three goals each game, we're in a much better space than if we don't. And that's all on, you know, us as coaches and them as players to evaluate in game after game. And so those little goals there are huge. I think it's practical to say we want to take every team in our league to a competitive space every game, and put ourselves in a situation. I don't think that any team is out of reach in our league. Syracuse, who's number one in our league right now, we took into overtime in the first semester. We played Mercyhurst type games. Again, we haven't faced PSU this year. So really intrigued to see how those games go. And then of course, Lindenwood, we were right there on the doorstep too before Christmas. So if we can put ourselves in a competitive space, again, we won't be satisfied, but at least that'll put us in a space to continue to improve each week, each day, each game. And, you know, I believe that the girls are working tirelessly and my staff is working tirelessly. And, you know, we're gonna have a little bit of success here in the second semester.
And there's a note here that I have that backs that up, where you were just saying that you guys have either led, your team has either led, tied, or trailed by just a goal entering the third period in more than half your games so far this season. So, you know, it's not far off. I wanted to switch gears a little bit and ask you how, you know, we were talking about recruiting in the future and you know, getting the right players in. What are some of the challenges that you've had to face, you know, obviously with COVID and recruiting, and you know, have you been able to get out on the road and go see some players, or you know, have you had to sort of stay closer to home? Just kind of give us an overview on the recruiting situation going forward.
Yeah. So COVID has played a role in the recruiting situation for not only my sport, but every sport across the country. I'd say last year was a little bit more challenging. Again, I sort of touched on even some of my players that came in this first year didn't play at all last year. So there was a whole slew of players that didn't play, whether it was, you know, in the US or up in Canada. And so that's impacted the development a little bit. But the spearhead is that, you know, this year we have been able to get out and see players live. We've used pretty crazy resources to watch players online, but it's not the same. You really want to try to get a read in person. And so we did end up getting some pretty good players that we're excited about for the 22 class, which will come in this coming fall. For the 2023 class, we're in a little bit of a holding period, which is a fun space to be in. It's a little chaotic at times, but just sort of waiting on some news regarding potential athletic scholarships, and then we can figure out which route we're going to go, plan A or plan B with our recruiting. So that's been a little bit challenging this year, meaning that changes the landscape of players that we're able to recruit and players that we're really able to compete with compared to other schools. I mean, because the reality is that's just what it is. But we do attract, and I have a ton of confidence in our university and what it's able to offer. So that's never a tough conversation whatsoever. RIT is an unbelievable space, as I'm sure everyone on this call knows, in terms of academics and what it does for its students and its professionals afterward. And then in terms of hockey, it's another easy conversation with pretty much every recruit. There's been challenges, of course, like we've had really, really in-depth and long processes with countless recruits. And then sometimes it just comes down to financial situations in the end. but for us, like when we recruit, we go by 3 categories. You have to be a great human, a great student, and a great athlete. And if you're not hitting those categories, the reality is we're really not trying to pursue you. We want players that come in here and make a difference. And so we're in a waiting period for this coming class, which would be 2023, which is a little goofy because it's a couple years out, but that's just how our recruiting is. But again, super excited for 2022 class. We have a couple forwards who are gonna come in and push pace immediately. I think one of the fastest players that I've had out of coach. She's an extremely great skater who will push the pace, disciplined forward, who's smart. Both of them have a ceiling that's really high. And then we have a handful of actually I should say a couple, not a handful, who one's sort of a local kid from Buffalo, which is really, really exciting. So yeah, we've highlighted some players who are close to Rochester who we believe should be in the program. There's nothing sort of better than being a hometown kid, and it's also great for our community and the youth to see like there's a pathway up to the big leagues, Division I. And then a goaltender also coming in next season who will push our goaltenders that we currently have.
And you being a former student athlete here at RIT, you can speak to these recruits about what it's like to not only be a student but an athlete at RIT and do it at a high level. Talk about the transition from a player, student athlete, and now you're a coach and an administrator at your alma mater. Talk about that transition between the two worlds.
Yeah, the transition has been a lot of fun. I'll say that. I think the cool thing about our RIT is the relationships that come in and out of it. And so as a student, whether I had relationships with professors or even staff or administration that's here, Jainsy, you were still here when I was here. It's been fun to get to know people from the flip side of what they do and really recognize that they put students first. It's also been fun to kind of pick their brain and bring in my perspectives from different schools and different programs and, look at RIT from 2 different perspectives and say, hey, where can we keep this because it's really great and where can we improve? And that's been fun within my own program. It's also sort of an easy transition too. So fun and easy because I almost know this RIT language that you're trying to interpret. So when you go to a new university, you're always learning new things about the university. But for me, I could come in and instantly know what was going on campus or know, hey, I want our program involved in this, or this is an experience that I know isn't happening at other schools that I can highlight not only to my current students, but to my future student athletes. And that's, I think, a level up and also a little bit of a golden ticket if done right. Jainsy, I think you're on mute.
I was on mute. My apologies. We've got a couple more minutes just to wrap up, just to kind of give us just a couple sentences as we wrap up here and heading into this weekend's game against Penn State. The floor is yours, just to kind of summarize.
Sure. I'll wrap up by just saying I think we have an unbelievable opportunity at RIT for our women's hockey program. Women's hockey is still a newer sport, and coupled with the academics and just the likeness of hockey, our campus really has an opportunity to be and strike greatness on the horizon. Right now, we're in a place where I'm calling it brick by brick, and so we all know that RIT is a brick city. We're trying to build our own mini brick city within the big brick city here with RIT women's hockey, and each day is a little bit better. Each weekend is a little bit better, and super grateful to work with the people that I do and the student athletes that I do. And this weekend is going to be exciting. Like I said, this is the first time we're going to see him this year. And, Jainsy, you talked about that third period. So hopefully, like I said, our goal is to put ourselves in a situation every game where we can be competitive. And then our kids have coined that third period, the winning period. And so they know that they've been in those situations, and it's up to us to shift, go into those situations and finish them out. So we're working and we're excited. And every day that we play hockey is a great day.
It is indeed. And for those fans listening, be sure to join us at the G. Policini Center for Friday afternoon and Saturday afternoon. RIT hosts Penn State University in a little College Hockey America action. And with that, I thank Celeste for joining us today, and I'm going to throw it back to Candy to wrap things up.
Okay, so thank you, Coach Brown and Steve. We hope you all enjoyed this afternoon's webinar. Before leaving, we encourage everyone to connect or stay connected with Alumni Relations and Athletics on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. Those links will be found in your chat box right now. So in addition to our social media platforms, we encourage everyone also to join our newest RIT platform, Tigers Connect, where you can have the opportunity to connect with RIT students, faculty, staff, and alumni all around the world. To register for that platform, please click on the link found in your chat box. What's coming up? This year, RIT Athletics is offering an opportunity to virtually connect with coaches the second Tuesday of each month, 11:30 to 12:30, with Tiger Chat with Athletics, featuring a different coach each month. Tuesday, February 8th, will feature men's and women's crew, as well as men's and women's tennis. These events and other events can be found by clicking in the link found in your chat box. And lastly, RIT is in a campaign to transform the future of RIT. We want to take the moment to thank all those who have helped us reach toward 80% of our goal, toward $1 billion. We're nearing the finish line, and all gifts play an important part in reaching that goal. If you would like to help transform the future of RIT, we invite you to make a gift of any size. Additionally, to be part of a growing society known as the Sentinel Society. To become a member, a minimum pledge of $1,000 per year for a duration of 5 years for a total of $5,000 that can be directed to Athletics General Fund. If you would like to support your team and women's hockey, please visit the links that are appearing in your chat box right now. Again, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Have a wonderful rest of the week. Stay healthy, stay connected. See you February 8th, and let's transform RIT.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.